Hi guys, Hound's Armor here, and it's been a while, so let's get back to talking about some tactical gear. Specifically, let's actually pick up some equipment and talk about first line gear. So, what's first line gear, and why am I splitting up just, my loadout tactical gear into two videos? Well, for me, I separate primary tactical gear into first line gear and second line gear, which basically means what's necessary and what helps. First line gear, of course, is your first line, therefore it's what's completely necessary. Physically, for me, this means my belt setup. So I'm gonna go over my belt setup and give some suggestions on what I would use in first line gear. So to start off, I have this OD green, I think it's just a Army Surplus belt. It's a 2-inch heavy belt that I've had to do some repair on just because it's old and surplus. Let's start on the right side, which these two things can slide around. I have a attachment here for one of my blaster parts holsters. I have my multi-tool. I then have this utility pouch, a dump pouch, and the other attachment for my holster. So why is this all that I have on my belt, and why don't I have more, like magazine holders for my primary and stuff like that? And if you haven't gone and seen my video about what a sidearm is and why I think they're important, I'll put a link in the card and in the description somewhere. Go watch that video because it kind of goes over what I look for in a sidearm, and the reason my first line gear usually doesn't support my primary is because it supports my sidearm, which is what I deem as strictly necessary. Because in all honesty, I've seen people run things I categorize as sidearms, hammer shots, sweet revenges, the Worker Hurricane, as primaries, and been in HVZs and in wars. I've done it in wars. I haven't just run a hammer shot in an HVZ yet. I will someday. But you can be perfectly effective with it, which is why I don't think a primary, whether it be my Strifle or my Caliburn or whatever, is strictly necessary, so I don't support it on my first line gear. I also like a fairly bare bones belt setup because I do like to wear a tactical vest on top, and if you have a lot of stuff on your belt, it can get in the way of the stuff on your vest, especially when you're a smaller guy like me. So what is necessary and why do I use it? Of course, I have my holsters, which just clip on these. Get on there. That just clip on these mountings. And yes, I have modified these holsters to fit a little bit higher on my thigh. If you want me to go into more detail about that, let me know in the comments down below. And I can make a video just going over my modifications to these blaster part holsters. But of course, a holster or holsters means my sidearm is on my first line gear. I have one. So that would go whatever sidearm I'm running there. I'm about to shoot my video on my Magpie, so that's why it's on the table. That's what would go in my holster. I kind of categorize my right leg or my left leg on being my sidearm depending on the game type. For most wars, it's my right leg has the sidearm. For HVZs, it's often my left arm. So I can draw my sidearm and my primary at the same time and shoot in two different directions. That's a whole thing. But of course, I think a sidearm is completely necessary because it's kind of the blaster that I want to save my life, or is there to save my life. So it's on my necessary gear. Just so this is lighter, I'm gonna drop that on the table. Next, I have my multi-tool. This is a Leatherman Free P4, if you can see that right there. I got it 2 years ago now, year and a half ago now. I love it. It's basically my go-to set of needle nose pliers. It's my go-to pocket knife. And why it's on my first line gear is it has screwdrivers. Many screwdrivers on it. So I can do things like open battery trays, tighten screws on the fly. And actually at End War 2019, I was using this peg and slot holster system, and my hammer shot was falling off my leg because one of the screws came loose, and someone told me about it and pointed out, and this thing kept me from having to ditch my sidearm. It's also good, like I said, for battery trays if you don't have thumb screws. Also, if something breaks and you've got a little burrs but you want to keep using that blaster, you can pull out the knife or the the file and just clean up those burrs. And in general, it's just a really good tool to have on me, and I like it. I don't think everyone needs one. I don't think it's a strictly necessary thing to have, especially in this day and age, but I like it, and therefore I have it. Next is a empty utility pouch. This, I don't know where this one is from. I don't know the branding or anything. I think it's a leftover from my days playing airsoft. But this has a very simple purpose of holding what usually goes in my pockets. It's my phone, my wallet, my keys, often a pair of headphones, and any other repair equipment I carry, all go in this pouch. This is because I don't like running with things in my pockets. Like I said, I'm a pretty skinny guy, and I just have found that when I run, especially at full tilt, things tend to fall out of my pockets, and especially since I use drop leg holsters, it's hard to get to your pockets. So I have a pouch that basically replaces my pockets when I'm walking around every day. The other thing I said it holds is repair equipment. This is usually my number 1 or my number 0 Phillips head screwdriver. For those of you who don't know, those are typically the screwdriver sizes that work best with Nerf. So I usually have one of those, often a little vial of super glue and a couple shims of plastic, as well as a little roll of duct tape. In general, just things that I know might come up to repair my blaster in the field. I actually need to reevaluate what repair equipment goes in this because I just recently finished my Strifle Mark II. Again, link to that video around. And that has several M5 what are they called? Hex head grub screws, and them holding the stock on, holding the battery box on. So I need to add one of those to my repair kit, as well as some other things, because that's a complicated blaster. I want to add a couple replacement parts because I can foresee parts breaking the first couple times I take it to war before I iron out all the kinks on that blaster. But that just is to say, this is kind of my catch-all pouch of non-game specific things that I'm going to need eventually. Like I said, keys, wallet, phone, are the basic things to kind of get through life in this world of 2020. You know, I need my wallet because my driver's license. I need my keys so I can drive to events, and I guess I always have to have my smartphone. Something in society says that these days. I don't know. And repair equipment. Lastly, I have a drop pouch. This is a foldable blaster parts drop pouch that I'm really liking. Again, I haven't taken this one to war yet because I just got it recently, but I really like how small it folds up, and that it's not too big even when it's opened. I'm playing around with a new manual of arms in general of not dumping my empty magazines into my dump pouch, instead leaving it for spare darts and MacGuffins. but I'm still tinkering with that idea. Before I had this one, I had this rollable pouch that's from Out of Darts' shop that I really like, and will probably go back to eventually. It's got a little more support around the lip, so it tends to hold open better, and it is a little bit bigger. So I just pulled this out because I think it's a good product and wanted to shout that out. So yes, in general, that's what I do with my first line gear. So let me talk a bit about what to think about when putting together your first line gear. And as with most things with a loadout, it's going to change for everyone because not everyone has the same loadout, and not everyone wants to run the same blaster, same ammo type, same play style. And I think the first question I want to approach is, what if you don't run a vest, you just run a belt? Like this battle belt Humber Bunny thing. That's great. You can have all your gear on a belt, and I know several people, like my girlfriend, who just run battle belts typically and run them very well, and it's very effective. Like I said, I like wearing the vest, so it's not the way I do it, but I think it's good to just think through the process of what's necessary and what helps, and kind of split gear into those two groups. Like I said, my first line gear here is like, what do I need? I always want to have a sidearm. I always will need a blaster to play these games we like. I am going to need tools to repair my blaster because things break. I'm going to need my phone, wallet, keys, whatever, so I have a pouch for that. I'm going to need a thing to help me pick up darts, and I'm going to want a place to store darts mid-game. Also pick up MacGuffins and whatnot, so I have a drop pouch. And so that's what's on my first line gear. The next video in the series will be about second line gear, but I'm just going to talk about it for a second. That to me, second line gear is things that make you more effective, not things that are necessary. So basically, my second line gear is a pouch for alternative ammo types, magazine holders, and my camelback. And then I've got that extra holster on there at the moment. Again, none of those are things that are necessary to play any of these games, but when I do have them, I'm more effective. Now, the argument I can definitely hear being made, and I'm making it to myself, and I'm trying to figure it out, is water is necessary, so I need some sort of water system on my frontline gear. I need a cup holder. I'm working on it. I don't have any good ideas at the moment, but I'm working on it. So in general, that's my overview of what first line gear is. Hope it helped. So guys, that's my video, and I really hope it was helpful and got some good ideas flowing through your head. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. This channel keeps growing at an insane rate, and I thank all y'all for making it happen. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Any questions, comments, suggestions, please leave them in the comments. I've been having some good conversations in my comment sections, and I hope helping some of y'all out. So thank you for coming back and watching more of my videos. If you want to see more of the series, I'll put the playlist link in the description below. And thank you so much for watching.